All right, so just got the brand new solid state logic UF8 today and just got it set up and brought into the studio. Now I'm still trying to learn how to use this controller to its full potential, but for the time being, I do want to give a quick little overview and first thoughts of the controller. All right, so with that being said, as has been shown before, you have the VPOT and all of your soft keys over here. And this is a really cool feature. I could definitely see if you had multiple UF8s across your desk, how you could really expand this quickly and get into a very creative flow when mixing. For instance, if you had, let's say, 2 or 3 of them across the board, you could probably have each one of these set at a different soft key, so every single one is displaying a different function of your keyboard, and it virtually replaces your keyboard with the exception of being able to type in the names of your groups and maybe renaming buses or something like that. Other than that, you really wouldn't have to touch your keyboard ever again. Very cool on SSL for doing this. Very well thought out, very intuitive and creative little controller. So let's start off, we're on the VPOT, and you just have your standard pan control, and you can also switch it over and you could use that for a fine volume control. Since we have all the faders right here in front of us, we're gonna move on from that. So soft key 1, what I did was I went in, and as you can see here, we have RTZ, stop, play, record, quick punch, separate, undo, and save. And I went with these ones for my first soft key because these are the ones that I use probably more than anything when I'm mixing. And this helps replace the keyboard, put some of my go-to features right here, right on the top. So this is really cool too. Let me show you real quick. If you go to the 360 software, and all you have to do is hit this 360 button, and then bam, up pops the 360 controller right there on your screen. Very, very cool. Like this feature. So our soft key 1 right here, I changed this already from the default, and now I have RTZ, stop, play, record, quick punch, like I said, separate, undo, and save. What I said before. Some of my go-to features. Now, I got rid of the forward and backward buttons up here because if you put this into navigate, we'll get rid of the 360 software real quick. If you put this into navigate and turn your knob right here, then it actually goes through your regions right here and acts exactly the same as the forward and backward button that they had up here initially as default. So this is really cool though. This knob right here is very, very nice, especially because this doesn't have a transport section on it, which coming from my other controller, I was very nervous that I was going to miss this transport section right here, having the actual start, stop, play. But I will say, after just a matter of an hour or two of messing around with this thing, yeah, I'm honed in on it. It's very well thought out, and you really won't miss the transport section as much as you think, because you can customize this section up here for your soft keys, and then you can still use your rotary knob right here, and you can fine tune it in if you want to work on a section and just quickly bring it back to this section or forward to a section. So for me, like I said, start, stop. Those are things that I like to have right here. Separate is another big one for me. Instead of having to hit Command E, I can just hit separate. How I did that, really cool and thought out on their part, is you come down here. I wanted my soft key, or my key 6 right here, to be separate. So I just did the edit button right here, and I took it off of dial control and I moved it down to keyboard command. I renamed it to separate, and then so you just do that. You just click right here to rename, and then you just click right over here, and I could show you. if you, I have to hit clear. Now there's nothing here. This is what it looks like at first. And then if you click right there and just hit Command E, bam, it pops up. Now close. And if we hit the 360 button again, and if we, let's say we select right here, and we click this our mode button right here, zoom in. If we were to click right here and hit separate, bam, it separates it separates the audio file. Now for that, let's say I did not want to do that and I wanted to undo that, which I have to do a lot while mixing. Just hit undo. So once again, for me and my workflow, I kind of put my go-to mixing buttons right here, all on soft key 1. Now we can go through, show you some of the other soft keys. In this section, this is all for my memory locations. So if I'm scrolling through, I can hit play. And let's say I want to actually right there do a memory location, bam, it did my memory location for me. So, and the ominous CPU EU overload. Anyway, so it did a little memory location right there for me. Exactly as hitting enter on your keyboard, it did it for me just by hitting this right here. And I did that function exactly the same if you go into the 360 software, okay? And I go to user bank 2, right here, keypad. When I actually created that, it was the same thing. Actually, I think on this one, down here at the bottom, they have keypad enter. So I didn't have to actually go into keyboard command. They had it for me right there on keypad enter. So very cool feature. Let's get out of this. And then let's actually delete that memory location real quick. And what I did here is on soft key 5, I put in all of the actual windows that you could bring up. So I have memory locations, bam, pops up my memory locations. And all I have to do here is clear marker 2. All right, now we're back. Go back to soft key 1, save that. Cool. Now we're back to normal. Let's zoom back out here and look at this session that we're working on. In full disclosure, this session that I'm working on right here is for school. I'm currently enrolled in Berklee's College of Music, so this is one of the songs they give you for the advanced mixing classes. All right, so I'm going to take this off of mode function here. Now, if you take this off, then it does scroll up and down, as you've seen in SSL's video that they put out. It will scroll up and down. And then you can actually sit here and do a fine. If you watch up here, the little transport, there you go. It's going over very, very, very slightly. Or, once again, you can hit this and zoom in, zoom out. And then also while you're on that, you can zoom the tracks in and out. Very cool feature. That's a lot easier than trying to come over here and hold all or click here, come over here, hit shift, and have to hit shift option and do your track height instead of having to do all of that. Rather, then you can just put it in this mode right here and you can put your track heights up and down. So love that. A lot quicker and easier. Okay, let's zoom back out here. See what we got going on. Okay, the plugin feature of this works very, very well, just like most DAW controllers do, but this one is, it's a lot more intuitive. It's very nice the way that they did this. So, for instance, I did an EQ on the vocal, and you'll see there's no bussing or no EQs on this session yet because I am just working on groups, memory locations, and overall volume level for the session. All right, so if I come over here and if I scroll over in my bank I want to say this is L Vox for lead Vox. Yep. It's solo. Cool, we are soloed. And then if we hit our play button,
there's a darkness closing in.
There we go. Now, if we hit plugin, okay, we can hit plugin.
Casting shadows
and
from
now
within.
we hit plugin
It's
1.
all begun. There's a...
Let's see here. Okay, that's what it is. All right, so if we come over here, we hit plugin, and you have to hit, if it's not selected your track, you have to hit select, and then your plugin information will come up here.
It's all begun.
Now this is really cool because
there's a stillness to the night.
If you hit the 1 over here, it'll actually bring your plugin up and down, which is nice. And obviously it corresponds with how many plugins you have on the track.
It's all been done.
So now, just like most DAW controllers, it gives you your readout. So right now we're on the LF. If we hit the button over here, it goes to LMF, MF, HMF, HF, your input and your output for your actual volume, and then your high pass filter, low pass filter. Now, if you don't want to hit the button over here, they actually did a cool little feature over here. You can actually use the V pot over here, which will turn to the corresponding section that you're trying to go to.
It's all been done.
There you go. LF, LMF, MF.
Is the same thing now just to disappear?
Cool. So it goes through it, and it works like everything else. I can show you real quick.
There's a darkness
we will go to the MF,
but it takes its time.
I cut it out by 2.7 dB.
Shadows from within.
I added 2.7 dB rather.
It's all begun.
And it works exactly the same.
There's a stillness to the night, and it makes us blind.
So yeah, this works exactly the same as any other DAW controller. This part right here, I say any other DAW controller. A lot of the DAW controllers out there work just like this, is what I mean.
Is the same thing now just to disappear?
Hit the plugin button. Hit solo.
There's a darkness closing in, but it takes...
All right. So that's a really nice feature. I do like the way that they have right here for you to page over and see the different section of your plugin, or you can actually scroll over on your V-pot up here to attain the same information. So that's really nice, just depending on where your hands... I think they did that for the fact that everybody works a little bit differently. So some people like to click over, some people like to stay up here and be able to turn right here while using your other hand here. So nice feature, I like that. All right, now we could show some of the fader options here. So just like most DAW controllers, obviously you can go up or down single fader. Where I found that this is nice is just the tactile feel of this. It's very smooth, and you can fine dial and focus in your levels, which a lot of controllers cannot do this. I know that SSL talked about this in their video they put out. If you come down here to the bottom and you click the always fine pan and always fine send, but this feature actually works a lot better than they showcased it to work, and I'll do that right now. So let's bring up the drums. I got an organic drum section here and an all drums. We'll just do all drums. We'll group that together real quick, and we'll solo that out. Hit play. Now I want you to watch right here. We're at -2.9, and I can obviously go all the way. I can go all the way with it. But the nice thing is, as I'm getting close to where I want to be, if you watch here, so I can actually go by 0.1 at a time. want to cut a half a dB, very easily access half a dB. If I want to bring it up a half a dB, I can very easily bring it all up a half a dB. So that fine touch right there is very unique. And I have to tell you, that is absolutely my favorite thing about the fader feel here, is being able to fine focus it in. The DAW controller that I had previous to this, you couldn't do that. It would almost jump what felt like by half a dB at a time. And I have to tell you, being able to actually come in here and really fine tune it in there is very, very nice. Did a very good job on these faders and how well the feel of this is. Along with the faders is you can bank over 8 at a time, as is pretty typical and common. Now, some offer this, some don't, but I do like having the feature here of switching this over to nudge. Well, let's see here. Turn the navigate off, sorry. So if you're in navigate, it won't work. So you have to turn nav off. And now I can just scroll over by 1 at a time. And that is huge. And the reason why that's huge, at least for me and my workflow, is sometimes I'll end up in a situation like this where, let's just say that the 2 guitars here, let's just say there was 3 guitars and the 3rd guitar was on the page over. Well, I'm sure you've run into this before. You'd have to page back and forth, and it moves your DAW screen around up there, and it's not very intuitive to have to switch back and forth to your tracks like that. So to being able to just reach over here and go over just by 1, and let's just say that electric piano was a guitar, and now I have my 3 guitars that I was working on right here. So being able to move over and fine tune this by 1 at a time is awesome. Definitely love that feature. All right, so let's get into some of the hardware now. All right, so one cool thing is the angle that you can set this controller at, and you can have it completely flat on the desk, just like your keyboard or anything else. Or you can actually dial this thing in on the back to whatever angle that you actually want it at. Now I have some cloud room treatment covering up here that has some LEDs on top of it, and I noticed that the outside LEDs, the halo effect, it was messing up my screen just a little bit. And I will say that you could see the screen at any angle. I don't know if this is an LCD or an LED. I'd imagine it's an LED screen, but it's nice that you can read it at any angle. Some of the controllers, it gets kind of hard to see if you lay it down too much. You can see this thing from any angle. But to take the glare off of the glass right here, you can adjust your height, and or if you just want the tactile feel, you can adjust your height to wherever it's comfortable for you. So I chose to bring this thing up, and how you do that is we'll bring this thing up here as these little foot pegs right here. Now you can either put this long side against the body and have the short peg coming up, which will lower it by about a ½ inch in height, or you can flip it around, which I did, and I put the short side down and had the long side going up just to give me a little bit more angle. But it's very easy to do. These little things right here actually unscrew and screw into the bottom down here when you change your side, and these are just little rubber foot pegs to protect the surface and to keep it from moving. So you just unscrew those, put them in the bottom, and then you undo these 2 little screws right here and rearrange it however you want. And there's actually, as you can see right here, forgive me, I'm looking at the screen while I'm doing this. As you can see up here, there is some little metal screw pegs, and there's about 6, probably like 4 or 6 of these along the body, and those allow you to adjust the height up or down and really get the exact angle that you want. So that's a really nice feature. I like that they allow you to actually control all the way from perfectly flat up to, I want to say it is probably about 4 inches. Yeah, it is 4 inches. So the way I have it right now, it's got a 4-inch angle on the back. So Another really cool feature that they added to this. All right, along with the hardware section, one thing that's really, really nice about this is the material they use to finish this in. So this is aluminum. I would guess it's aluminum, and it looks like it's actually brushed. And the color of it, if you have an iMac Pro, or you have the Mac Mini Pro, or even I guess the new Mac Pro wouldn't count. But if you have that space gray, if your keyboard, everything else is space gray down here, it is going to match perfectly. It's almost like an identical color to that. So that's really, really cool. It looks really good and has a really nice feel to it. The most stock controllers, and at least the ones I've had in the past, are plastic. And I really like that they actually took the time and the money to make this thing metal. It has a good sturdy feel to it and nice and hefty, good decent little weight to it. And yeah, small little feature, but something I really like. All right, so moving on. Now, as you can see over here, I have my layer 1, 2, and 3 as SSL is put out. That is to choose your DAW. So right now I just have it for Pro Tools. I also have Logic. I used to use Logic a few years back, and so I could have both of these set if I wanted to switch back and forth between both DAWs. I don't know necessarily when I would use this per se personally. I could see it more for switching back and forth between like Ableton Live and Pro Tools. I could definitely see that if you're laying down any type of synths or that type of project, then being able to quickly move back and forth between Ableton and Pro Tools would be nice. Now, moving back and forth between like Pro Tools and Logic, I don't know if you'd use that feature as often, but it's cool that it has it. Now, the quick key over here is really, really nice. I personally set mine to be Option, Shift, and Command, replicating those really commonly used things on the keyboard. And you could set these to whatever you want using the same feature. If we come back here into the SSL 360, you go to your quick keys right here, and you can see I put Option, Shift, and Command. And they had it by default. I think it was like in soft key 3 or something, and it's still here actually. So Option, Command, and Shift. I like it being right here because I use those buttons quite often, especially if I'm coming over here and I'm grabbing something. So if I were to take the group off, actually let's put the group back on, turn it off. So let's say I just wanted to come in here and hit my kick and maybe my overhead and room, just see how my kick is responding in that aspect. It's really, really nice just to hold the shift button down here and it responds exactly as your keyboard would. So really love that feature. Very nicely done. I would say that just for me personally, I think that I would like to have, instead of the 3 layers switching back between DAWs quickly, I'd almost rather have more of these quick keys. It'd be cool to have a few more, maybe do like Option, Shift, Command, Start, Stop, Record, or something like that. Or play, start, stop, and record. I almost have like 6 of them right here, and just be able to hit all those over here. Almost be cool. But, you know, you have them right here, so it doesn't matter. And I will say that one thing I was nervous about, like I said previously, was not having a transport section. So I was very, very in tune with having that on the last DAW controller. And I was very nervous about getting this thing not having that. But I would say after about 10 minutes of using this thing, I was already reaching right up here for my start and play. Didn't even think about it after that. So it took me 10 minutes to get used to, and I was done. So if you're out there and you're curious, or if you're nervous about not having a transport section, I would say don't be. It comes to you so quickly. So nice feature too is like most controllers, it has your automation section down here, your off, read, write, trim, latch, touch. That's obviously very nice, because that's, to me, one of the most useful features of having one of these is being able to actually volume write your automation in, as opposed to trying to use your mouse and click little automation points in and or try to ride a mouse up. It just doesn't work the same, obviously. So having that is a very nice feature. I like the way it's located down here. It's kind of out of the way, but then when you need it, it's right here, ready to grab. All right, your panning section is really easy. Obviously, we'll use Synth A here. You got your right now it's set to your left pan by default. If you come over here and click your pan button, now it switches to pan right, and you can go from there. So that's really nice, very easy to just reach over here, grab your other side, and come back. So makes quick work of your stereo tracks. All right, so overall, that was just a real quick down and dirty review of this thing so far. Once again, I just got this thing just a few hours ago and unboxed it. So I am very, very happy with this so far. Love the feel of it, love the look of it, love how responsive the faders are and how good they feel. I like how you can actually get in here and do 0.1 dB at a time with a fader. That's a really cool feature. And once again, I would see myself in a hybrid studio situation if you had a few of these laid across your desk, and you could once again have maybe your first one at soft key 1, next one at soft key 2, next one at soft key 3, and it would replace your keyboard function, and you almost wouldn't need a keyboard at all other than to type certain things out, but you could have everything laid out here on your desk and go from there. So if you wanted to expand this for a hybrid studio situation, it would be really, really useful. It doesn't fully replace the feel of a console, just because it's missing the transport section, and obviously it's a lot smaller. But it does a very good job. It gets very close at replacing some of the feels of that. And I would say that of the DAW controllers that I've used, it's definitely one of the nicest ones. It's the smoothest functionality. The fact that you can come in here and you can actually program everything about the top function with your soft key and make it personalized to you is really, really cool. You're not stuck with what the manufacturer gave you and or what is the hard button over here that is set in stone. You can come in here and make it whatever you want. I really, really like that feature of this thing. Yep, so once again, just been a few hours with this thing, and I will do another video, a little bit more in-depth video, as I learn how to use this a little bit better. And once I get a little bit more familiar with it, I can do a more in-depth video. But if there's anything that you want to see me go over, if you're thinking about getting it for yourself, if you're on the fence, drop me a comment below and let me know what you think and or what you would like to see, and I will make a video and try to go over it for you and go from there. All right, thank you guys.